Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Memo bibiara kwa eba PENDREAM TV. Say we are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and like video no share ma afofro so ensa enkabi. Na okujeto Ablakwa eri ensembi atudwa. Ya wache say Nana Addo Akufo-Addo is unlucky having Dr. Bawumia as the running mate. If we say some few days ago, Dr. Bawumia eri ensembi ebatudwa say onono eye driver's mate na onip ade ekoso ewo eye driver no ne seat no. I wache say he doesn't know what is going on in Nana Addo Akufo-Addo na mamu. Ena Dr. ena Ablakwa said Nana Addo Akufo-Addo etiaseo ena amanfo anaso no akasa ne manfo de Betrãyãl no anase omo chance twene omo ho every Nana Addo Akufo-Addo na mamu. So the expose bi atudwa efa Dr. Bawumia ken oforiata ena afenso no ada members are call for IMF negotiation no ehyehyeye bi a omode omonsa ehye ase no etwa yie kra to a nsem to no okyerese Dr. Bawumia ena afenso no MPP amanyoko no afeli Ghana. And in the coming 2024 election, no, Ghana for engineer so punish Dr. Bawumia. That is Ghana for ento about etia MPP led by Dr. Bawumia. And same way ni ensema hodo bi na Samuel Okudeto Ablakwa ede atudwa. Mepese obeka me hone yakotie ensema oka. Ansa na yebeko no PENDREAM TV ewo another platform a friend no PENDREAM FM. Eho no yaji wadwenkyere efa ensema ekoso ewo oman Ghana. Send your voice note efa number ya eda o screen so no yebe publish ewo ho ama amansan ate wonka. Number ni 0277128777. Yentie sene Ablakwa eka nense.
Yeah, Doc, so in the usual very clever and skillful approach by my good brother Nana Komia.
Why are you always taking digs at him?
He wants to leave this matter at the doorstep of the finance minister. And he's leaving the real McCoy out of the equation.
Oh, Nana Akufo-Addo.
No, but
I
hold
in my hands.
One second. If we are going to look at doorstep,
Yes.
it was actually passed in 2020.
Can I
Now I
proceed?
want you to recognize that fact.
Can I proceed? So I hold in my hands the IMF country report number 23/168, which contains the agreement that this government has signed with the IMF. Now, if you look at the IMF document, approval, approved by, this discussions took place in Accra in September, in Washington, D.C. in October, and in Accra again in December 2022. The mission held discussions with Vice President Bawumia, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta, Governor of the Bank of Ghana Ernest Addison, and other senior officials. Then they proceed to list the IMF officials on their part.
They had a meeting together.
Yes. So the approval, they don't even mention the president. The vice president is the first name, the first official. He led the negotiations, according to the IMF, according to this IMF document. Now you come to page 13 of this document, under paragraph 24. To address these challenges and achieve the program's revenue mobilization objectives, the authorities are preparing a medium-term revenue strategy. This strategy will focus on tax policy and revenue administration measures necessary to reach the authorities' program revenue objectives over the 2023 to 2026 period. An IMF's Fiscal Affairs Department tax diagnostic mission identified the following potential measures to sustainably generate significant revenue while addressing efficiency and equity concerns. First one is removing VAT exemptions, which are estimated to close a 2% GDP gap.
Wow, that's a lot.
2% of GDP.
That's a lot.
Yes, that's what they agree.
So our VAT exemptions.
VAT exemption across the board. So it's not surprising that you have noticed that even with third-party insurance, across the board. So it's going to even go beyond electricity. All VAT exemptions. Because you see, he's right that this was passed in 2013. But then former President Mahama issued a fiat on his green letter that it should not be implemented. So it hasn't been implemented for about a decade. So you have all of these VAT exemptions in the system. Now, because you see, when the laws are being passed, the practice in Parliament is that normally it would be quite omnibus. Then later on, allies will come and then work out the fine details. So in working out the fine details, VAT on electricity was exempted. Now you have gone to led by Bawumia, and the IMF cannot be lying to us. You see, those who approved this agreement say that.
Well, not to interrupt. Did you say they met people separately or they met them as a team?
As a team.
Let me see.
Discussions took place. Yes.
Let me see.
But
1 second.
Yes.
Let him read it.
yes,
Discussions took place in Accra in Washington.
September.
Commission had discussions with Vice President Bawumia, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta, Governor, and other senior officials. So you mean they met as a team or
Yes.
separately?
Well,
It's not said. But anyway,
it's not
let's go.
said. But-
I just there to be
yes,
sure of that.
But you see, so this attempt, and you see, a lot of that is going on when you listen to Bawumia himself. When it is unpopular, it's not
But the
me.
truth of the matter is
It's
that the decision to go to IMF was taken at the cabinet.
at the cabinet, yes.
And the president phoned
Yes.
the IMF chief and informed. And so government of Ghana had a position.
Exactly.
Set up a
Issued-
team
yeah, and issued a
for the
statement.
team to negotiate with IMF
Exactly.
and report to cabinet.
Yes.
They didn't even have the right to by themselves make agreements.
Yeah.
Everything they did was subject to the approval of the president and cabinet.
Exactly, exactly. So why this attempt to exonerate somebody, to shield somebody because he got his contesting an election?
Who made the attempt?
When the IMF is telling us, the first person they met,
But Randy, one
who
second.
was the leader of
Who
this
made the
effort?
attempt? Who made the attempt?
All of you, Bawumia himself, you have done the same thing today.
Oh, what have I done?
He's kind of Ofori-Atta
No.
even asking why don't you like Bible scriptures?
Because the finance ministry issued the statement.
Yeah.
Listen, the first time many of us heard about this was the finance ministers.
The January 1 directive.
Yes.
Well, I
And
knew
that was your question.
I knew it was coming
Because even then, we haven't even said it's the
staff
finance minister's decision.
Yeah.
No,
It cannot
this-
be.
This business that
Yeah,
you are
so-
trying to beat me with.
Okay,
It's not fair.
So since you have come around, it's okay.
I hadn't gone anywhere.
You have gone far afield, trying to, exonerate your campaign project. I'm
Randy,
glad
you must come into this matter. Am I exonerating somebody? And
No, you haven't. You were speaking to where the directive came from.
Yeah.
and you were skillfully.
So why are you allowing him to go on this
skillfully,
tangent?
No, but I've made a point. to you.
But he
skillfully
won't
living
listen.
matters. Skillfully living matters at the doorstep of Ken Ofori-Atta. But
It
I'm
looks
glad
like
that,
he knows something I don't know.
I'm glad that there's we've all come home now. I'm glad that we are now on the same page. Page 16 of this agreement. Page 16.
Son of man.
Katuso Nana.
Emotion.
Page 16 of this agreement.
Yes.
The Power Utilities Regulatory Commission,
Yes.
PURC, recently raised electricity tariffs by close to 30%, which was a prior action.
Yes.
So even before you agreed to the VAT exemptions being removed,
Yes.
as a prior action, you agreed that electricity should go up by 30%.
Yeah, that's how the quarterly review started in
Yeah.
the last quarter of 2022.
Exactly.
Yes.
Then it continues, bringing the cumulative increase since mid-2022 to 57%
Yes.
to help reduce the cost recovery gap and limit this year's shortfall to around 2.7% of GDP, offsetting underlying upward pressures from a more depreciated exchange rate. Additionally, quarterly tariff adjustment will be implemented in 2023 to compensate for any exchange rate and price movements and to bring tariffs close to cost recovery, while efforts to improve operational efficiency of energy distributions as planned in the ESRP, unquote. This is what you agreed with the IMF. And before this VAT exemption, look at what you put Ghanaians through. As a prior action, you agreed with them, led by Bawumia, according to the IMF, reporting to us. Bawumia was the leader, and you agreed that even before the agreement, you agreed that electricity tariff should go up by 30%. Then it went up to 57%. Then, in addition to that, you agreed that there should be quarterly adjustments. So after you have done all of this, you now want to impose 21.9% VAT. Why? What have Ghanaians done to deserve this?
Have you finished?
So I want to salute organized labor, that they remain resolute, and I'm glad that they are not falling for all the...
You don't salute me.
All the tricks. No, you are not in solidarity with...
But I've expressed my solidarity here 2 minutes ago.
No, but for
you've made up your mind. So, anything that will worry your mind, you consider.
Let me salute the TUC boss and all leaders of organized labor who have been resolute on this matter. And I was preparing to join them on February 13th. I have not changed my mind. All of us must continue to be in solidarity with organized labor. We cannot take the excruciating hardship anymore. I mean, what is happening in the electricity sector alone, you would even have wished that it was just that sector. You have to add this to all the other sectors, that they are suffocating us. And it's incredible to think that this is a group that promised to move us from taxation to production. We are the only country still paying a COVID levy as we speak. Still paying taxes on COVID. And you don't know what they are doing. Still paying sanitation levy, which was linked to COVID. We are still paying that. A pollution levy, emissions levy. I mean, why? What have we done to deserve all of this? So look, we've now had it, and this attempt to create the impression as though the entire government is not in on this. I want to thank the IMF that they are so transparent. They report everything. All those who lead negotiations, they tell us. And we know clearly from this document the source of our pain, the source of our anxiety, the source of all the hardships that we are going through. It is Bawumia. He is leading all of these efforts. The IMF has made it clear. And that is why at the polls on December 7, 2024, he must be punished. He must be punished. You see, even the lack of sincerity, the dishonesty, you go agree to all of these things, even take prior action, so that even before the agreement, you were more than happy to just throw all of us under the bus. 30%, 57%, quarterly adjustments. All tax exemption should be removed. Then now you want to tell us that you are only a driver's mate, and that you really don't know what is happening in the driver's seat. I mean, I just pity Nana Akufo-Addo. I mean, he's been so unlucky. Everybody is running away from him, and
he's lonely.
He's so lonely. I wonder. And he's even alive when he's president. And see what everybody is doing to him. Nobody is taking responsibility. There's no leadership anymore.
Okay. Now we'll take a break and go back to this. But Makojo Bafu in the US, speaking to the earlier issue about the flood victims, he says that with Honorable Ablakwa, the government has to be careful before he accuses them of not going through the proper channels.
Oh my goodness.
All the T's and I's have to be crossed and dotted. He will release information soon on what transpired before, during, and after government assistance. And he ends by saying that you're one of the MPs who's done very well, and no one should ever try to contest you. Okay, so but your protege, I was in a protege with once, I saw his banner there.
No,
that's why I said,
he has adopted me as his mentor. I'm not.
You are not interested.
Yeah, I'm an adopted mentor.
We'll be back shortly.
He was asking about my contribution.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to make a contribution. But my small worry with what you've just told us is that you said President Mahama is coming to commission.
Yes.
Which under normal circumstances would not be a bad thing. But you see, this is a project that all kinds of Ghanaians have contributed, and you were...
Including President Mahama himself.
Yes, and you enumerated many of the people who have contributed. Many of them, I mean, these are people of diverse political persuasions.
That's true.
Yes. So I would
but for the record, I've also invited the Volta Region Minister.
I would have thought that...
The Region Minister will be there.
I would have thought that maybe you could have gotten... I mean, President Mahama could attend, a special guest, but maybe the commissioner. You could have gotten maybe the paramount chief or some neutral.
Okay, somebody neutral.
Somebody neutral political.
Oh, but it won't be an NDC event. It's
well, once you're having President
because
Mahama,
you see, if you look at the profile of donors, he's the most
chief.
That's why we chose.
Once you're having President Mahama, there,
Yeah.
you have given it a political color.
No, not at all.
No, okay. You
think the national chief imam will be attending a political rally? No, it's not going to be a rally. You'll see. We are using Ghana colors.
No, I know you may have Ghana flags there.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because Ghanaians of diverse political persuasions have contributed, including myself, potentially.
We've been waiting for
As of now, you have no locus.
Yes,
No, but
absolutely
I've been invited to contribute.
But you haven't.
And I intend to do so.
So until you contribute, you have no locus.
You have no locus.
So-
that's why your name is not on the plaque. All those who have contributed,
So
their name is on
what I'm saying
the
is
donors
that
plaque.
it would have been better if you had gotten, say, a paramount chief or somebody politically neutral. That's my only.
What
It's not too late.
It's being chaired by the president
It's not
of
too
the
late to make
Water
some
House of Chiefs.
But Nana, the bigger picture for many people who are watching this program, the bigger picture, and that's the question I asked.
Yeah.
That if such a disaster has
The
occurred,
official reaction. But you remember last 2 weeks or so,
Yeah.
I asked you, are you saying that
Yeah.
there hasn't been any input from official sources? And you said,
Yeah.
really,
Nana,
it was
as
very...
we speak,
Yeah.
Because
as
there's
this
a
thing happened,
ministerial
the
team.
president himself,
Yeah.
the vice president went there.
Yeah.
The president himself went there. You forget about what he said,
Yeah.
but he went there.
Yeah.
The government itself announced
Yeah.
the setup of this team with almost every important ministry represented by a minister. Then from September, October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. So if these public-spirited groups and individuals led by the MP had not done this, is government saying that the situation of the people would have been that?
No, it's, well, I don't know, maybe they are doing something because there's a ministerial committee.
Yeah,
made up
but
of
at
about
where?
10.
Where are they doing it?
So maybe they have to be coming out with the information. And
It's only 5
listen,
months. It's only last week that the regional minister says that they sent some directors from the Ministry of Works and Housing to meet him. They haven't even done designs. I asked him that, did they show him a design for the building? He said, they are now coming to engage us to see our lifestyle.
How do you
way of
explain
life.
this?
I think that the
How
chief
do you
of
explain
the chief of
this?
staff is the head of the ministry.
Yes. Look, a whole chief of
How do you explain
contact
this?
Yeah.
5
I'll
months.
contact her.
How do you explain
It's
this?
not fair. And you expect people to be patriotic, to sacrifice for their country. It's not fair.
I'll contact her office to find out.
It's not-
I mean,
it's
they
not-
need
it's
to be
not fair.
forthcoming with information as to what they are doing.
It's not fair. You don't do this to you.
Anyway,
Because from what you are saying, it's like really, there's nothing official on the ground.
Nothing.
because you see, the thing has happened by the grace of God, the weather patterns and everything. So we don't have a problem with spilling again.
Yeah.
But the aftermath of the spilling,
Yes. Yeah.
the spilling left in its wake.
1,500 houses were
Yeah,
damaged.
it left in its wake. We all saw, we've
Yes.
all seen
Yeah.
the destruction.
Yeah.
So, are we saying that, but for these efforts,
There'll be nothing on
yes,
the
the
ground.
place, ravaged and everything. You can't have a situation where you can't point to say that our government has even provided this because the people were rendered homeless.
Yeah. Even the tent, this from the U.S. government. When you come there, you see USAID. The tents, the people
I'll
are
tell you
living
what.
in.
I myself would contact the office of the chief of staff and ask that they put up information if there's something going on. Because it doesn't look like there's any information as to what officially is being done. And that would not be good enough.
Anyway.
So I myself would contact the office of the chief of staff.
I'll follow up with you. I'll call you and find out
So
what she tells you.
So Nana, just before we go,
going to send her a message
just before
just
we go on the Alhaji Bawumia's engagement, yes.
Yeah.
This issue of the VAT on electricity, yes. The Ministry of Finance wrote a letter 1st January directing NEDCO and ECG to do it. We then know that they issued a statement last week saying that after organized labor then held a press conference and said that it disagrees. In fact, when I hear the 15%, 50%, it's actually 21.9%, not 15%. Now, organized labor held a press and said that government should withdraw it. They reject it. They want to see a letter withdrawing it, and that they were going to hit the streets. They issued a letter everywhere that they were going to. Then, Sunday, Monday, after we had Nana B, the MPP National Organizer, go on radio and talk about the emissions and VAT on. Then we're told that, Cabinet has held a meeting. I think the Cabinet meeting was on the previous Friday, last Friday, a week ago. And that at the meeting, it wasn't an official Cabinet release, but we were told, it
was a scoop.
Yes, that the meeting has agreed that it was going to engage the IMF, because that's part of the IMF program, to see how the revenue shortfall will be dealt with and all that. It was going to deal with the IMF. Then 2 days ago, the Ministry of Finance issues a statement to say that it was suspending the thing and was going to engage the stakeholders on the way forward, okay, which is not too different from what they had said earlier on. Now, on page 13 of the Daily Graphic, organized labor in the Greater Accra region says it is not ready for any engagement with the government on the 15% VAT imposed on electricity consumption. And addressing a news conference in Accra yesterday, the Greater Accra chairperson, Patrick Benjamin, stressed that organized labor's position is a total and unconditional withdrawal of the 15% VAT and not suspension of it. He said if the government failed to heed the demand, members of organized labor will lay down their tools next Tuesday to drum home their demand. He explained that the implementation of VAT will aggravate the places. We, as Greater Accra organized labor, associate ourselves with the demands of our national leaders and thereby emphasize that we cannot pay VAT on electricity. We will not pay it today, we will not pay it tomorrow. Organized labor in the Greater Accra region unequivocally opposes this decision to impose a 15% VAT on electricity consumption. And they say that it is awkward, bad, and a nuisance tax on electricity, a basic necessity for households and businesses alike. And says low-income families will be the hardest hit as they are forced to allocate a larger portion of their income on this. Says electricity was not a luxury but a fundamental utility essential for everyday life, and they go on and on and on. Now, Nana, how do we navigate a situation like this?
Well, look, Randy, I do not believe for 2 seconds that this proposed VAT will come into place.
Okay.
I mean, the act was passed in 2013 when there was no IMF. But of course, in 2013, then the doomsday came. So really, there was no room to impose such a big tariff on electricity when the electricity was not available. This attempt to bring
we had an IMF program in 2015.
Yes.
But we didn't include it.
It was passed in 2013
yes.
when there was no IMF.
Yes.
But even then, it wasn't implemented.
Yes.
I can understand why it wasn't implemented in 2013 when it was passed. Because once you pass it, it means there's an intention to implement. Because then the doomsday started and so on. So now, this new introduction, bringing it back, how many years? 10 years down the line, I don't think it's going to be possible. And the case is strengthened by the action of the labor unions. And so government will have a good bargain in hand in telling the IMF that this particular condition is not going to be possible. So now the letter suspending it, I see it as really is an intention. It will not be done. The TUC is saying, the labor unions are saying that they don't want a suspension, they want a withdrawal. We're just playing around with words. At the end of the day, suspension means it will not be implemented.
Now, if you look at, just a minute, if you look at, and here I'm looking at actions of government. If you look at government's actions on the Universities Bill will organized labor not be fortified in their current position? There was this same agitation about the Public Universities Bill. And then government suspended it. I'm sure you remember all
Yeah, something like that.
Then only for us to hear that on the resumption of Parliament, government has quietly brought the bill back
What I heard
to Parliament.
What I heard about that particular business of the Public Universities Bill, what I heard, I stand to be corrected, but what I heard, it was supposed to be the Open Universities Bill, and that there was a typo on the other paper of Parliament. That's supposed to be the Open. That's what I.
The one there now.
Yes.
So it was not supposed to be public.
No, it's supposed to be.
So
open.
it's not what has been suspended, which has been brought back.
There's a bill to regulate the Open University, and that was a. And you see.
So when would the error be corrected? Because it hasn't been corrected.
Well, let's wait and see, because we are about to go to Parliament.
Oh, okay.
Because what worries me about the VAT on electricity, I mean, even for people like us, who electricity consumption is way above, what do you call that line?
Lifeline.
The lifeline. A 15 or 20% VAT would be steep.
Yes.
In my area, I speak to my neighbors, and I found out that my electricity bill is one of the lowest among my neighbors. And
you still do your solar stuff?
Yes, because I still do my solar stuff. Even then, I pay an average of 1,400, 1,500 a month.
Okay.
Even with the solar. My neighbors who don't have solar, some of them pay 3,000, 4,000 a month. Now, so even for us, another 15%, 20% will be steep. Then the lifeline. The lifeline on paper is a 30
cedis a month.
30 kilowatts.
Yes, that's about 30 cedis a month. 7 cedis, 50 pesos a week.
Okay. The problem is that the people who are targeted to benefit from that lifeline, the infrastructure there doesn't allow them to benefit. So if you went to a typical household in many of the areas in Accra, it's a compound housing. Compound housing means many families, maybe 5 or 6 families. You go to Teshi, you go to Nungwa, you go to La, you go to Adabraka, Kokomemle, Biokoshi, Kolegono. These vast areas where you would expect people's consumption to be around the lifeline. But because the meter that the typical compound house would have is 1. So a single family, maybe a fridge, a fan, 2 fans, 2, 3 bulbs.
No, you can't now. You can't. When the lifeline was up to 50, then you could have all that.
Yeah.
But with 30,
yes.
now it's 2 bulbs and a fan.
So now the lifeline.
You can even add 1 TV.
So the lifeline too has been reduced.
It's been reduced from 50 to 30.
The lifeline rather should have gone up to about 100.
Yeah, it's 50
to
down
30.
to 30. Yes.
It should have gone up to 100. Then you could have exempted more people. Then it could have been a bit more palatable.
So now it's 2 bulbs and a fan. If you have 1 TV,
okay.
Even
so,
black and white TV.
So if you are not careful, even without the compound housing, even if the meter is just for 1 family of about with this, they will still go above.
Yes.
Now when all the 4, 5,
and they
6,
collapse the band too. You know, you used to have the band being like, let's say 50 to 150.
Yeah.
Now it's 30 to 300. You are in the same band. Yeah, so the band is also being collapsed. So even those who are around 50, 51, you are in the band with the people around 200.
And 200 is quite a lot of consumption. Okay, so but the point is that because of the way the meters are structured, all the people who are at 30, even 50, because the household meter would register the consumption of 6, 7, 8 families. And so the consumption will go way above the
if you are doing 30, it takes you to 180.
go above way there. So even if they are doing 30 and you have 6, go to 180. So they will pay the VAT. You know, for me, that's my major worry. So really, it's not something that will be palatable.
But didn't all this thinking, this analysis, go into it? Because in coming up with a tax measure, you ought to look at all these
you know, because this one, the IMF is involved. So it's probably not just a straightforward government measure. There are external forces involved. And so you would find out that the local reaction can be more complex than you would see.
We still made a case for example, what we call social intervention policies. I mean, government told us that they made a strong case for why ABCD must stay and must even be enhanced. So my point is that you have different tax measures, and the effects of these tax measures are also quite different. I mean, how tax A will impact on
livelihoods
is different on. So I'm just asking whether all this thinking, this analysis didn't go into it. You want to impose VAT on electricity, and you want to exclude Lifeline. You obviously know that this will be the effect. You are increasing electricity by about 22%. You have already instituted a quarterly review from the last quarter of 2022, as far as electricity is concerned.
For me,
you've dismantled the bank.
So there are all kinds of reasons why it cannot be implemented or it should not be implemented. But I'm also intrigued as to the thinking of government in 2013 when they passed this law. I don't know what the thinking was. And then having it lie on the shelves for 10 years, and then another government bringing it back. I don't know how these things function, because when you look at it objectively, electricity, which is not a luxury, because electricity is basic. Electricity is almost a human right now, and that if people are deprived of electricity, you amount to affecting their dignity as human beings. So putting up so much taxes, I mean, if it was on beefeater gin, which we had a lot at your event. If there's a beefeater, if there's a beefeater gin,
a single malt Glenfiddich, 18 years.
Yes, yeah. There are a few on my table.
In the same way, I even ask about the VAT put on non-life insurance.
Non-life?
Yeah, so third-party insurance.
Third-party?
Insurance.
There's a VAT on it?
There's VAT. Yeah. Your insurance, now, when you're going to pay insurance, you have to pay, whether it's third-party or comprehensive, you have to pay. The insurance that you pay for, like your house, you have to pay VAT on it. It's part of the new measures.
But not quite. There's people who have cars, so you can.
No, but even the truck people. So now, when they so your fleet, all the insurance that you
and it's so comprehensive as well.
Yes, you have to pay almost 22% as VAT on the premium that you pay.
On comprehensive.
Yes.
And third party.
And third party. Why?
I don't know. Well, the insurance is 1 year. That's why maybe I haven't noticed. But as for the electricity one, I don't believe for 1 second that it will be. Anyway, it has been suspended, which I suspect the finance ministry was a little coy about coming out to say I've withdrawn it. So a little suspended. But I have no doubt it would never be done.
At least the letter didn't come with a Bible quotation. So it was fine.
I mean, for an elder in a big church, you don't seem to like Bible.
I don't like when the name of the Lord is used in vain.
Well,
that's what
you
I
don't
detest.
like.
Yes.
Okay.
Go through the papers. First topic. Let me use the opportunity to make the big announcement.
Big announcement.
Yes, tomorrow we are going to be commissioning our second resettlement project.
Oh, what is that big announcement? I thought another expose.
You know what I thought?
What do you think?
I thought he has been chosen as the running.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. So, and you will be the one to announce it.
What if he's been chosen?
How can you announce?
If you've been chosen, you can announce it.
No, but Doc and Anna, you can understand why my biggest priority, what engages my attention, what has really been driving me over the last 5 months has been finding decent accommodation for my displaced, beloved constituents. Following the spillage from the Akosombo pond dams on the 15th of September 2023, we have not had any respite. As we speak, there are thousands of my compatriots and our fellow Ghanaians who are living rough under the vagaries of the weather. Some are in tents, some are in congested classrooms. I am eternally grateful to the vast majority of Ghanaians who have rallied behind us, who have come to support us. That led to the first resettlement project by the First Sky Group, Construction Ambassadors, their subsidiary, which is currently housing 300 people. We decided that all the cash donations that were coming in, instead of probably using it to buy perishables and consumables, why not set up a structure, have an accountability elders council, they open an account, and all of those monies are paid into that account. I'm not a signatory to the account, and as those funds come in, we use it for what is the most pressing need, which is shelter for our people. And that idea has borne fruits, and tomorrow, His Excellency, the former president, an incoming president, President John Dramani Mahama, will do us the honors. At 2 p.m., he will be in Bakwe to commission the second resettlement project. And this project is really, really beautiful. Nana, you'll like it. The Honorable Regional Minister was with us earlier in the week to inspect all of what we have, we have been doing. Yes, the affable Dr.
That's
Lecha.
my man. Oh.
Yes, really, really nice man. Really nice man. And I admire him for his maturity. So I took him on a tour of the...
All our ministers are like that.
Not all your ministers, please. Don't stretch your luck, Nana. Dr. Lecha had a nice time with us. Taking
your agency is under which ministry?
Transport.
Okay.
Transport.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a strategic question. Yeah, but back to this, the joy of the moment. So this resettlement project is disability friendly. This time we are going to prioritize the fiscally challenged, and we'll also prioritize the aged, because it's really traumatizing seeing these people, living in tents. And soon the rains will be upon us. One wonders how they are going to survive, in these tents. So I am happy that we've been able to put this project together. I had to raise a facility to augment the shortfall, and
from the bank.
Yes, yes, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I believe that as donations keep coming,
you'll be able to
retire it.
But you took that risk for people.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Because, Doc, you should come and see. You'll break down. I mean, when you enter the camps and you see how people who had their own homes not too long ago, had their own properties, their own televisions, and now have nothing, and are just living like refugees in abject destitution.
This is Mepe.
Yes, in Mepe. So
at the Construction Ambassadors Thanksgiving service.
Yes.
Zoom Lion.
Zoom Lion. Yes.
Promised to build one.
Yes.
Is it happening?
It hasn't started. It hasn't started. And I like the collaboration. He says he will release the funds
To
construction ambassadors to do it.
Yes.
So we are waiting for that to take off. And then there's Prophet Amwatim, who has also promised that he will start one, he and his congregation. So we are waiting for them to also take off. But this,
how much does one cost?
The construction ambassadors one is about 1.2 million
cedis.
For what you see. Yes, cedis. It's really quite affordable. Ours went up a bit. Ours is about 2.5 million cedis because we enhanced the design. We added kitchens, so large kitchens, so that they can cook within if they don't want to cook outside. We added storerooms, and then we added TV rooms, meeting rooms, so that at least it'll be more functional. Yeah, so our design is a bit more enhanced and then disability friendly as well. So we are really, really excited in the constituency that tomorrow...
You still have land for more?
Yes, we have. And the chiefs have been generous. They've donated land. So anybody who wants to come in to help us, you don't pay for land. You just will have free land to construct. I want to also thank the President of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs. Yes. The President of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs will be chairing the function tomorrow. Togbe Teprehodo, you know him, very distinguished lawyer and traditionalist. Yes. He trained the likes of Roxy Dafiama, you know, Dollar and others. Very, very nice man. And we're looking forward to a great program. We've invited all the donors to join us tomorrow, led by His Eminence, the National Chief Imam. So His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, will be joining us tomorrow, and he will be speaking on behalf of all the donors who have been generous to us. And if you permit me, it's not a tall list. Togbe Kosinego VI, the Manklalo of Mafe, donated the land. We received donations from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, my dear wife, Noella Seydu, the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the Right Honorable Eduardo Ajaho, so current and former speakers respectively. Her Leadership, Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono, Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice of Ghana, Professor Nana Jenopoko Ajiman, the judges and staff of the Judicial Service of Ghana, Sheikh Dr. Osman Nuhu Sharabutu, the National Chief Imam, Togbe Afede, the 14th, the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Isud Anaba, Davida Rufin, the Ghanaian staff of the United Nations, University of Ghana Business School, and they took this up as a special project. You know, at the business school, they have a course, corporate social responsibility. So they task the students to go around and mobilize resources and implement, have a practical demonstration of how you execute a corporate social responsibility. So I want to send special thank yous to the students of the University of Ghana Business School who were with us yesterday, lecturers of Ho Technical University, Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche, the executive chairman of the First Sky Group. He donated again for this project. Mr. and Mrs. Ruben Chachu Adoko, Goyle, the famous Goyle also donated. St. George's Security Services, Madam Florence Enin, DRS Grandma, who had been looking for me for weeks and wrote out a check of 5,500 cedis. We have named the TV rooms after her because of her really touching gesture. Mr. Felix Addo, Mark Ruben Kuma, lawyer Jesse Jacinto, Hanifa Yaya, Muhammad Isa, Mr. Prosper Game, Mr. Nashiruddin Tahir, the NDC New Jersey chapter, the Big Brothers group of the Electricity Company of Ghana, very dynamic group within ECG, Mr. Prosper Lechu, Rosa Foundation, the Central Group. Central Group sent us 1,000 bags of cement. Mr. Jekum, who also sent us 1,000 bags of cement. the Sweat Must Drop Youth Association in Bato, Stephen Shirao, Datefu and Friends, Regulus Investments and Financial Services Limited, Just Wells Limited, then the Esbekans Association, the Ghanaian Cuban trained professionals, you know, they also came together and made a donation, and then the Kalovan Foundation, they are based in the United States. So it's been really an exciting journey, despite how traumatic we began. But the way we have put ourselves together, we've been resilient, we have exhibited tremendous solidarity, and we've looked out for each other as a people and as a nation. That is what has culminated in some of these gains that we are making. And I'm really, really happy that all of those fiscally challenged people who are in the tents, their story will change tomorrow. There will no longer be any fiscally challenged person living in the tent. We're going to move all of them tomorrow, and then we'll select some of the aged, the most senior amongst them, because of the numbers, the number of people displaced. According to NADMO, 12,633 people are displaced. So we would need to build more of these houses so we can cater for everybody. But I want to reserve special gratitude to the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for the support. He's always calling us. He's always, you know, checking on us. He's personally contributing. He's making sure his friends are coming around to assist us. And he's coming himself tomorrow to do the commissioning. So we're very grateful to him, his dear wife, Mama Lodina, who also supported us. So we thank everybody.
So
I keep reminding my friend Nana Komia that we are waiting for.
So what is the
interministerial committee?
Yes, the committee with about 20 or 15 ministers. What does that committee been doing?
So I asked the Volta Region Minister when he, you know, initially he wasn't part of the team, then later they added him to the interministerial committee. So I asked him when he came to see how we are faring and the projects we are executing. And he told me that a week ago, that's last week, the Minister for Works and Housing sent directors from the Ministry of Works and Housing to engage him in his office. And they informed him that they are making arrangements to soon come carry out land inspection and to start the government's own construction of the resettlement projects. So at least that tells us that government has some plans, except that, you know, the response rate has been so slow. I mean, this is an emergency, and it is for emergencies like this. That is why Article 177 of the Constitution creates the contingency fund, so that you can even quickly put together an emergency response, and then you brief Parliament during the process. But despite those arrangements that the framers of our Constitution put together in establishing the contingency fund under Article 177, we haven't seen, you know, that contingency mindset, that emergency, you know, approach being adopted in this particular instance. And I think that Nana Komia will have to tell his colleagues in government to be up and doing. This is a humanitarian crisis, and how do we feel, you know, watching fellow Ghanaians? And you see, Doc, the sad thing about this whole thing is that our people are sacrificing, so all of us will have electricity. Many people haven't really reflected on that. According to VRA, if they didn't spill, the dam will break and will not have electricity. So our people are bearing the brunt. They didn't do anything. They've committed no crime to deserve this. They are just bearing the brunt because VRA had to spill, so all of us will have electricity. So people who are making tremendous sacrifices, they did sacrifice at the beginning, you know, of the construction of the dam, sacrifice in 1963, you know, and 60 years down the lane, they've had to sacrifice again. You know, it's taking such a toll, you know, on human well-being. You know, the psychological trauma alone, the financial losses, everything that you've worked for. And a lot of these people, they can't go back to work They are retirees. It's people in their 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, so it's really unconscionable that people who, you know, haven't done anything to deserve this are really taking one for the team, for all of us, so that we can have electricity. This is the slow response that we get from government. But my approach as a local leader is not to wait for government, you know, throw my hands in despair and say that, you know, government is not acting swiftly.
So are we suggesting this happened when? The spillage?
September
Okay.
15th.
Okay, so are we saying that, but for this effort by public-spirited individuals and you as the MP leading it, this happened in September, we are in February, towards mid-February. Nothing would have happened?
Yeah, it's incredible. We would not even have had one room for the people.
5 months?
Yeah. It's incredible. You can't believe it. But that is what we are going through.
Anyway, okay. So I'm told that the Wembley people have informed you that they will build a 7-a-side pitch for the people.
Yes. Let me thank Coleman. Coleman called me.
Yeah. And your Mr. Frank, your local bank, he's an Odadia, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So he's commending you for a great job done. I'm sure he's proud.
Yeah, he's my respected senior.
He's proud of you as an Odadia. Anyway. Yes.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.